Welcome to edition 43 of All Killa No Filla podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn, and Kiri Pritchard-McLean. Just before we start, we'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have mutual interest in serial killers, and as long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
Hello. So this is episode, what did you say it was?
43.
Oh my god, I'm
Jesus.
so sorry.
Is that BBC sound effects album? With like a dog barking. An aeroplane.
That's a cough for you there.
That's a terminal patient.
Yeah, and
with throat cancer.
This, alright mate, Jesus Christ.
But if anyone's going to get it, it's me.
No, that's not the way it works, is it?
Oh, is it not?
No, well, yeah, it is. It's, well, let's not get into this.
Probably got another 5 years left.
Episode 43.
Yeah.
We're looking at Joanna Dennehy.
Joanna Dennehy. It's one of those Irish surnames that I'm never sure how to pronounce correctly. Because like, you pronounce it Dennehy and it's like, no, it's O'Brien.
Yeah, well,
right.
Yeah, like Siobhan, and you're like, there's no way that's that. And I'm so, because also it is very Irish sounding, but I'm worried that I'll say halfway through I'll turn it into dee. It's so like comically Irish.
These are known as the Peterborough Ditch Murders, which is the most English lazy name for a collection of murders.
Yeah, it does sound like it happened in sort of like the 70s.
Yeah.
Where, you know, just like when it was a particularly, like, the mildest winter on record. You know, just like everything's grey and wet. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a horrendous cough. I can't shift.
I don't think you're going to make these live shows, mate.
No,
I
know.
Me going, she was a great girl, we had some great laughs.
I'm just going to sit there next to you on a nebuliser doing the thumbs up every now and then.
Here's a montage of her finest moments.
Oh, God. What the fuck would that be? It would be nothing.
Oh, there would be, you know.
You'd have to raid my Facebook albums.
And then at the end, do you know what it'd be? Be just a sequin top.
Oh,
and like
God.
white feathers falling down.
Oh no. You know there's oh god, we're getting distracted already. But I'm just going to say this very quickly.
Go on.
So, oh my god. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. It's better than yawning, is it?
It's more frightening.
I can taste blood. That's not good, is it?
It's strange, that.
I think I've got the consumption. Anyway, so on Welsh language television, I can't remember if it's Round or Pobl Come, one of them anyway. It's absolutely fucking mental. So their version of Kiri, one of the characters on it is an actual angel sent from heaven.
What?
Yeah, an angel who tries to be a teacher and isn't very good at it. That's the plot line at the moment. I mean, how adorable is that?
Are they smoking a lot of weed in the valleys?
Yeah, you know what? No, it's up in, not the valleys, not so fucking South Centric. It's actually filmed, if it's Pobl Come, oh no, Round is filmed up in the north.
I didn't know they had two subs. I knew they had Probably Come, but I didn't know they had...
Yeah, Round is filmed in Menabridge. And it wouldn't be weed, it would be magic mushrooms because they grow in Snowdonia, which is where there's lots of hippies who live.
Well, it's making a lot of sense, this...
Yeah. It's quite trippy, isn't it? Can't imagine that, can you? Fucking Jack Duckworth one day walks in and there's an actual angel sat under 3 ducks on his sofa.
as if it was completely normal.
It is, they're passing it off like it's normal. So, this is really recent, which is, we sort of worried about doing them, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to fucking stir anything up for anyone.
It is very recent, and also, it has snuck in because it is technically a spree.
Snuck it,
But
yeah.
as there's not, we wanted to do another woman, and as you know, as we tend to be good people and don't do this thing quite often, we were sort of running out of women.
Tend to be good people.
We didn't.
Don't be so gender conformist. We're just as bad.
If not worse sometimes.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself. I think this is... But you were not getting used to doing sprees, so bear that in mind. There'll be no Columbine.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Columbine sounds like a fucking working men's club. You mean Columbine?
Columbine. Sounds like cigs that they used to sell in the 70s, doesn't it? Anyway, so, Joanna Dennehy. We haven't got her actual date of birth.
It's very weird for how recent it was, because all this happened in about March 2013.
Yeah.
How little info there is there.
And also, something that we both picked up on, I've noticed when it's a female serial killer, murderer, or whatever, there's very, very little information on the victims, I find, if they're men. Because, I don't know why this is, I think people tend to focus on the fact that, oh shit, a woman has done this.
Yeah.
And then sort of the victims maybe slightly get a little bit overlooked
Yeah.
in some way. But yeah, very recent. This was March 2013, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember this happening as well.
Yeah, I remember this.
You'd
hope so. It's only a few years.
Well, I know, yeah. Well, I
Harold Bishop.
I can't remember anything that happened last week. My niece just asked me, where did you do your comedy last week? And I was like, I have no idea, kid. I don't know.
We just make up something that sounds good, don't you?
I couldn't even...
London,
New York, Sydney. It was probably... No, actually, it was in South Wales. Anyway, you don't need to know this.
She was born in 1982.
1982.
But that's as specific as we can be.
Yeah. She had a childhood.
She had a childhood, mate.
She had a childhood.
I'm going to kill myself.
I think you'll be reminiscing about yours in a bit, because...
It's flashing before my eyes right now.
You're running on a beach.
What? I didn't grow up as a spaniel.
Go on, off you go.
Who remembers running on a beach?
Like when you see montages of, people dying, it's always like they was running on a beach, or like the kids running on a beach, or they're doing love with somebody running on a beach, and then they get swept out to sea on a beach, and that's why they're having a flashback.
Oh, is it? Right, I got all beach-based stuff like Dennis Nielsen.
So, a childhood, very normal actually. She had a mum and dad, and parents were called Kevin and Kathleen. She had a sister Maria. Childhood, she got good reports at school. She was a very sensitive child.
Yeah, her mum said she was because her mum was like, I can't believe it's the same girl. She like went off the rails as a teen, but she said, I remember as a little girl she cried when they'd accidentally, like, when you put the shovel in the ground and you cut a worm in half.
Oh, yeah.
She was crying over that. She was incredibly sensitive. And apparently was a very pretty teenager. Not that look should have anything to do with it, but they always bring it up when it's a woman.
Yes, they do.
With sort of a bright future. In fact, she wanted to be a lawyer, and her parents paid for tuition so that would come more likely, because apparently she was clever and sort of needed the extra, push to get her in there.
Interesting. You had extra lessons, you told me, didn't you?
Yeah, just some weird guy used to go to his house in Holyhead for my A-level biology, but it's because I was like, I can't remember. I think it was the first A-level biology paper, which was the easy one. I just couldn't get above. I can't remember. I think it was I couldn't get above a C in it. I don't know why. So I kept going to his, and I was like, I don't need to do any work because I'm having tuition done. And then I got exactly the same grade. I just understood everything more. I didn't do any better on the paper. So yeah, it was just some man, and he fucking hated me. I could tell he was just like this fucking time waster. Because I used to go with my boyfriend at the time, who was really smart and also. I don't know why he went for tuition, but he had biology as well, I think, for the same paper, and he just would talk about how intelligent my boyfriend was the whole time. He's like, God, he just understands everything. I'm like, yep, he's very
I'm
good.
paying for this, mate.
Exactly.
Can we crack on? Yeah. I never had extra lessons. I didn't do the lessons I was meant to do. I was very absolutely bone idle.
Were you? Were you truant as well?
A couple of times I used to piss about and not go to school. I remember I went through a phase me and my friend Laura Murray, who actually listens to this podcast now, I've been told. Hello, Laura Murray, living in America, have a great time. A couple of times we bunked off school and went to her house and watched TV. And then just watched music channels. And then I was like, I don't really want to do this. And I did get caught out from not being at school. And I just thought it was worth it just to stay at school, just to piss about with your mates.
Yeah, I never truanted. Because I just thought pissing about with your friends in school was more fun.
Yeah, I found it absolutely tedious, to be quite frank.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun. It's like being a housewife, isn't it? Yeah. So there's only so much Jeremy Kyle and bid up TV you can watch.
That's it. And you're like, oh. And I remember being at Laura's house once, and she was saying, oh, we could have a sandwich, but my mum might notice the bread's gone.
Bum, bum, bum.
And I was like, but what are we going to eat? And we just didn't eat anything all day.
God, it sounds awful.
And we couldn't leave the house because what if someone saw us go to the shop?
It sounds like when you're really skint as a student, you just got to stay in because you can't afford to leave.
I'm like that now. So her parents were, a normal childhood as far as we know.
Yeah.
Nothing suspicious, but she became quite rebellious when she was a teenager.
Yeah, it changed fast, didn't it?
Yes, and this was in 1997. She met a chap who was 6 years older than her. She was 15, he was 21. And she left home to live with him, and her parents said they thought it was just an act of rebellion that she'd come back, but she never came back at all, and they didn't hear from her.
Yeah, there was a change there. So I think about just before all this, she got sent home from school for being drunk. Legend.
Doing a dharma.
Doing a dharma, yeah. So she'd been drinking in school, and then her parents, they didn't like this guy, obviously because he was in his 20s.
You don't think that was a punishment, being sent home for being drunk, do you think?
No, you know what I think is a punishment? Make them stay in school pissed. Make them do fucking PE hammered. That's way more of a punishment than send them home. Brilliant, they can go and sleep it off or keep drinking. Make them stay and make them dissect a rat when they've just knocked back a bottle of ouzo in the playground. That's the real punishment.
Oh, that's not me sick, that. Or tidy the quad. What? Every school, right? Certain buildings and schools have quads. What is it? The quadrangle. No one's in the quad. No,
isn't it just the bit that all the buildings are built around?
It's in the quad. What's the quad?
And you know what never happened in a quad? A fight that would happen on the field.
Fight!
I love that. Everyone's sprinting across.
I never had a fight. I'm not at school. Not a violent person. There was a girl at my school. Shit, I'm putting her name out there. And she took a massive dislike to me for some reason. Which is fine. It happens. And kept trying to arrange a fight with me at the tram station. And I'm like, I don't want a fight, but I can't not turn up for the fight because everyone will call me a pussy. And I kept turning up for this fight and she never turned up. So by default, I kept winning this fight.
Right, I'm not sure.
But I would never have had a fight.
Yeah, it's very... I mean, there's quite a lot of admin gone into that, isn't there?
Oh.
All my fights are quite spontaneous.
Really?
Yeah, I like it. Keep it loose.
Yeah, they were arranged.
As in, meet me at the tram stop.
Got to be at the tram station at 3:30 because she wants to have a fight with you. I'd be like, oh God, well, I've got to be at the tram station at 3:30 because that's how I get home. So, yeah, let's see. But she used to call me stuff like Morticia Adams. I'm like, it's quite a cool thing to call me. I wasn't offended by it.
I wonder what she's doing now.
I could say, but I'm not going to.
Oh, you're going to tell me afterwards, yeah?
I'll tell you afterwards. I mean, it's going to sound very... I mean, I'm working class, but I imagine a lot of her days taken up buying dinners from Iceland.
Iceland are brilliant, mate.
I know, but probably for... I'm not going to get into it. I'm doing better. No, she ended up having 2 daughters with this... What's his name?
His name's John Trainer. So they met in 97 when he was out walking his German Shepherd. So apparently she went over...
Such specific information.
I know it is, but we don't know what her fucking birthday is. So he was out walking his German Shepherd and she came over. Apparently she absolutely loved dogs and kept making a fuss. And that's when they sort of got together from there. And she was into stealing at the time as well. Weren't we all? It's been a teenager. And yeah, the parents were like... His parents wouldn't let her come and live with them because of the age gap. So her parents are like, go on, fuck off out of it. And his parents are like, she's not coming here, she's a kid, it's weird that you're together. So they slept rough. They were just homeless.
God.
And then they moved to this shared house in Luton. And then they fled to Milton Keynes because in this shared house... Who flees to Milton Keynes? This is all so sad.
You flee from Milton Keynes, don't you?
If you're not familiar with the geography of the UK... Peterborough, Luton and Milton Keynes are in the top 5 worst places, bleakest places I've gigged.
Yeah, I think I've only gigged in Milton Keynes once.
Milton Keynes is I really hate it. Sorry to anyone who lives there. I'm sure there's great stuff going on, but when I've been... And Luton as well, they're all like commuter towns that are just a bit bleak.
Yeah.
That, you know, everyone's so fucked after like spending so long commuting to London to work that no one's got any time to make it a home. It's just like a pod you sleep in.
Nobody wants the comedy night, do they?
No one wants the fucking comedy night. Milton Keynes, Peterborough, God. Just Luton as well. I think Bedford's another one where it's just like fucking...
I've never been to... Actually, I don't think I've been to Bedford.
Bedford's quite nice.
Or Luton.
Died on my hole in those places. Died. That's where jokes go to die. So she fled to Milton Keynes because they lived with a drug dealer in Luton and they grassed him up.
Oh, God.
I know. Awful people. So they fled then because he was after them. Now, she was really young during all this, although John Trainer insists that even though they were together when she was like 15, that they waited until she was 16 before they had sex.
Well, he's going to say that. I mean, I don't know. He might have done. It's nothing to do with me. But...
I just think that's highly unlikely.
I think it's highly unlikely as well, yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Also, is it illegal to have sex or be sexually active? Because does it count as like, oh, I only slipped her a finger?
Oh,
like,
you can do that.
You can. So you can finger at any age.
I think it's actual. No, you can't. No.
Well, I mean, you were very adamant seconds ago, and now you flip-flopped on this.
Because I was thinking about the age... No, I don't think...
I feel like it's 13 for
sexual activity.
Stuff. Yeah.
With a minor, that's what it is, isn't it? You can't...
So what age is that?
Under 16.
Is
so
it?
You can't, yeah.
So you can't get fingered before 16 legally?
Not off an older person, I doubt.
What do you mean?
Well,
no, because that's statutory rape, isn't it, if it's older, but it's... No, you're putting grey areas that aren't in the law.
I don't know.
It's not like, oh, it's alright if it's two 14-year-olds having at each other. It's the law. You got to be 16.
But you can't prosecute two 14-year-olds.
For what?
For sexual activity.
You could, but I doubt it'd make it to court. Like, they've got bigger things to do.
I don't know what to say now. But basically, if you're an adult, don't be touching people younger than you.
Yeah, I don't feel like we have to make that announcement on this podcast, do we?
No, but it's a very...
Just in case there was any doubt, please don't sexually assault children.
I still think 15 to a 21-year-old is too young.
Yeah, well, there's loads of nuance in it. Like, I talk about this in my show, but generally 7 years is... Anything over 7 years is a problem. And then the age of consent kind of, confuses things sooner. I don't know, like, it's yeah, I mean, I wouldn't fuck a 15-year-old when I was 21.
No.
Never thought I'd have to clarify that either.
I don't think I could...
I wouldn't have sex with a 21-year-old now. I would find it weird. I find it weird that my boyfriend is slightly younger than me, and he gets really fucky. He says it's the most immature part of me. The fact that I'm like, we would have been in different school years. I really don't like it. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't think I could... 2 years younger, maybe.
How old am I now? I'm 31. Could I boff a 29-year-old? Yeah, maybe. I don't think I could below 27.
No.
If you didn't watch Jurassic Park in a hall when it was raining at playtime, I don't think I could let you
There's no
sling
hope.
it at me. Yeah.
There's no hope.
That's my rule. Got another rule, never fuck a man in a fleece. Those are my rules.
What, while you're wearing a fleece? Or if he's wearing a fleece?
Just a fleece. Although fleeces are back, of course they fucking are. It's these hipsters, innit?
Well, I was in a shop called Bershka, which I've got obsessed with, which is absolutely fantastic. And I was in with friend of the show, Will Duggan. May I stress me and Will Duggan aren't a couple. It looks like we are, but we're definitely not.
Oh, as soon as you start saying stuff like that, sounds like you're a couple.
Well, every time we go out anywhere and we talk to, a stranger or a person behind a bar, I was like, oh, how long have you... I'm like, oh, no, we're not. I think, but we started to, because we see so much...
loves that.
Well, because we see so much of each other, we sort of slipped into this way of talking.
Yeah, like you've been married years.
Like we've been together for like 10 years.
He's a good egg.
But I said, oh, what do you think about this jacket? And I went, I think it's amazing. I said, it's lovely. He went, well, that absolutely fucking disgusting orange fleece that you've just put up in front of my face. I went, it's just an orange fleece. And I just put it back. I was like, that's terrible. I want a wool fleece, though. That'd be a good day.
What, the ones with the scene on the back?
I love one of those.
I think they're horrific.
I think they're horrific, but
you can get them on the market. Have I spoken about this before? They've got... Oh, God, I'm getting distracted. You know them, they've got those massive fleece blankets with, like, a tiger on it, but all of them look like they've got birth defects. I swear to God, there's a Down syndrome lion on there. And there's another one who's like a... What's it called with that those women take the pill and it damages the babies?
Oh, thalidomide.
Yeah, there's a thalidomide puma. I swear to God. I've not spoken about this
That
before.
sounds like a rock, like an awful rock.
And then we had thalidomide puma, Def Leppard tribute band. Have I spoken about that before? I have to cut it out if you have.
I think you might have mentioned it, but...
Sorry guys.
It needs addressing again, it's still going on. So in 1999, she bought her first fleece. No, she didn't. She had her first child. And she wasn't very happy about this.
17.
I know, she didn't like this. She wasn't...
Yeah, he was like... John Trainer said, it's made up. And he said she was devastated was the word that he used.
Oh, dear. Well, she's only 17. Yeah, she didn't really bond with the baby, did she? And she didn't...
She's a kid.
She didn't like it. She wasn't
she wasn't asked.
No.
Yeah. So she didn't want the kid. She ended up having, he said, doing more drugs. She was quite violent. She was drinking. She was having casual sex with different people. Apparently she banged their neighbour. Which is when he sort of like was like,
It was the last straw
enough
for him,
now,
yeah.
You can't be boffing the neighbour. I'll draw the line at that.
He moved with the baby, didn't he?
Yeah, to King's Lynn.
And what was she doing? She was working, but she was getting paid in vodka and whiskey, wasn't she?
Yeah, so he moved up with the baby to King's Lynn, and she followed, and she got a job digging vegetables. I mean, this all doesn't sound like it was a few years ago.
No, it sounds like 1910.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, so she got a job digging vegetables, and the drinking got worse. She used to get paid, like, normally, and by the end she was just getting paid in whiskey and vodka.
I don't know, not a bad way to get paid, I suppose.
Oh, God, I can't think of anything worse than that.
No.
Ugh. Imagine digging veg and then just get handed a bottle of, like, Red Square vodka. It wouldn't even be brand name, would it?
Ugh.
I love the things they call, like, cheap whiskies.
What
You know,
was
like
it?
Scotch whiskies or Irish
Like
whiskies.
the copies of, like, Glenfiddich
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
they're
that.
great, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I like whiskey. I don't really partake in it that often.
Ugh.
I've not had a drink for a while.
Bullshit. I was literally with you when you were fucking hammered.
Oh, yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
When
What
was
day
your
is it
friend of the
today?
show, Will Duggan?
Sunday. So don't be like, I haven't had a drink for ages. You've had a... You've
I
got...
went out on Friday.
Fucking hell. This is bad.
I've not had a hangover, though,
We're going to
so-
change this to the intervention podcast.
Oh, God. We were chatting about this, because getting paid in vodka and whiskey, which actually I had to say, vodka and whiskey,
As if you've got a fucking alcohol problem.
You asked, I've not got a problem. You asked if I'd ever been paid in anything other than money, but I haven't.
Oh, I get paid in other stuff all the time.
I've never been paid in anything other than money.
The best thing is I got free membership to like a... Well, it's going to sound awful, to like a members club in London.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a philanthropic organisation and sort of raises money for rough sleepers and women who need refuge and things. So I'll take that. I'll take that for free.
Yeah.
And then also I used to also get paid in food when I started. Did you not get that? You'd be like, we can't offer you any money, but you get your dinner.
You can have a bit of hot
I
pot.
fucking love a bit of dinner with my gig.
I never used to eat before gigs until about a year ago, you know, because
Your nerves.
Yeah, I suffer with nerves terribly. I mean, you wouldn't think. But what did I get? I couldn't, whenever there was food with a gig, I could never partake in it because I was so nervous, and I couldn't, like, some days I didn't eat before a gig at all day.
Really?
Because I used to get that nervous, yeah. And now I'm better, obviously. I had chips last night. And but the Frog and Bucky in Manchester used to do Holland's... They sponsored the show a couple of times.
Yeah.
Holland's pies.
I never got the Holland's pies.
No, I...
People would come home with bags and bags of pies.
we got a travel mug, a cup, a box of pies. What else? Something... A tea towel. Phenomenal.
This is all great
Yeah,
stuff.
really great. Good pies as well. Much better than Pucker, in my opinion.
Well, there you have it.
That's what I
We
miss about the
found a
North.
sponsor.
Holland's pies.
Nothing vegan for me, though. But we'll let it slide.
So, there was an incident there with Joanna. She was so drunk once that she nearly pushed a 3-year-old child down the stairs drunk.
She's not winning Mum of the Year anytime
No,
soon.
she's
Apparently,
not.
they was worried about the kids a lot, who are now obviously a little bit older. But there was a big age gap, wasn't there, between the two girls?
Mm-hmm.
Someone commented that one day the kid turned up and then she'd shaved all her hair off. She's like, oh, it's because of knits. And they were like, the kid didn't have knits. It was just another fucking weird thing that she did.
Well, she turned abusive towards a boyfriend, and she ended up punching him after this incident, and he left. And then they ended up didn't they get back together and they ended up in Wisbeck in Cambridge. So on this podcast, the cricket bat has made many appearances, hasn't it?
Yeah.
With
John Christie.
Christie in the live shows, and she in this one she does get a cricket bat, and she attacked her boyfriend with that, and that was the last straw with him.
Yeah, because I mean, when I've read a few interviews with him on various rag websites like the Express and the Star and the Mail and stuff, all hellish papers, just for context, and he sort of makes himself out to be like, oh, I just loved her, and I'm always like, fuck you. When when they're like that, I'm like, you were probably a cunt as well. But loads of the neighbour statements are like, this is just some softie who's absolutely in love with this girl, and she treats him like shit and balls him out and punches him all the time. So I think she's a very troubled young woman
absolutely.
who also has addiction problems.
But so 2003, they end up in Wisbeck in Cambridge. They're making these places up now.
Yeah, this sounds like bullshit.
And then in 2006, she has another baby.
Pops out another kid.
Yep,
And she'd sort of got, after this big event with a cricket bat, and they get back together in 2003, she started to kind of sort her life out, be a bit more involved with her daughter. But then 2006 and another kid, it all kicked off again. I don't know if she hasn't got undiagnosed postnatal depression or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I'm making excuses for her behaviour, of course, but I'm trying to contextualise some of it. So after this kid, she starts having strong lager for breakfast, which makes me feel sick just reading the sentence.
I was on a train coming back from a gig. Why I did this, I don't know. I did a gig in Llanelli in South Wales, and I decided to get the 5 a.m. train back.
Ugh.
So I was in a hotel. I couldn't, you can't relax because you're like, I'm going to miss this
my
train.
alarm. Yeah, I hate that.
So got to the train station, got on the train, and it'd been going about an hour. So it's probably about 6:30 at this time in the morning. 2 blokes get on drinking bottles of Peroni on the way to some sort of sporting event. It's 6:30 in the morning, lads.
Fucking hell.
And they hadn't been out all night. They just cracked them open there and then.
Ugh.
It's gross, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I could. What's the earliest you could drink?
I would say...
Of a new day, obviously.
I would say 1 in the afternoon. However...
Is that beer?
Yeah.
What about a wedding? Weddings are different rules for a wedding.
Yeah, weddings
drinking
it's not
earlier.
real time, is it?
Yeah, but Bucks Fizz, you can whack one of them back at 10.
You can have one of them at 10.
Christmas as well.
When I don't know if I've not mentioned this yet, I met Noel Gallagher. I had 2 pints at 11 o'clock afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was... Anyway, shall I tell the story?
Yeah, to go and tell you an old story. I can't believe it's taken how long? Like half
I
an
know.
hour.
So, Lloyd Griffiths, comedian, lovely man, handsome chap.
Isn't he?
He is a handsome man.
I like a lad that can take a bit of hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a lovely face, very handsome. My absolute hero now, because he presents Soccer AM, which is if you're not in the UK, it's a programme on Sky TV. Boo. And they talk about football. Anyway, Lloyd messages me. Hello, mate, do you want to come and meet Noel on Saturday? I was like, are you having a fucking laugh, pal? And he went, no, he's on the show. I was like, yes. So I thought, ooh, who shall I take? I thought, I'll take London neighbour Will Duggan. And we
Friend
went,
of the show.
Friend of the show. And I got up at 5 in the morning to do my hair. And then we met at the tube station, went to where they film it. And Lloyd came out, he's like, I've just met him. I said, what's he like?
Did you just have your hair tied back?
No. Oh no, I've done my hair. It's not every day you get to meet your hero. So Lloyd came out, he said, I've met him. He said, what's he like? He said, he's lovely, he's dead sound. I was like, brilliant. Then Noel walks out, my knees went. I was like, oh my god, it's Noel Gallagher. Me and Will were like...
Is he tiny?
I knew he was small. He's only about 5'7".
Really?
Yeah, he's very small. So me and Will were like, oh fuck, it's Noel Gallagher. And we're just watching him like he was an animal in a zoo. And I was like, Will, look, he leaves his tea bag in his tea like me. Oh, look at him. Oh, look at him talking to that person. Oh, there's his wife, there's his kids. Long story short.
He's throwing his shit at the wall.
He's throwing his shit at the wall. Lloyd afterwards said, right, come with me. He said, thanks for coming on the show, Noel. And he's like, oh, no problem. He said, can you meet my friend Rachel? She's a really big fan of yours. She's from Manchester. He went, oh, are you? And he turned around, he was right in my face. And I went, oh, God. He went, oh, where are you from? I said, oh, Harper A. He went, oh, nice one. You red or blue? And I went, blue, like Arkwright from Bloody Open All Hours. And I went, sorry. I said, I'm really, really nervous because I'm a really big fan of yours. And he went, it's all right, don't be daft. Put his arm round me. I was like, oh God, he's going to kiss me. So I was like, and Lloyd was taking a picture for us, and he had his arm around me, and I didn't know what to do with the other arm, but Noel Gallagher just popped it round the side of me.
Oh.
And I was like, oh God. Took these pictures, and I went, oh, thank you so much. And he's like, no problem. Friend of the show, Will Duggan, went, Noel, can I have a picture too? I used to live near Fog Lane Park. And he went, yeah, nice one. And he go, cheers, bye.
Oh, yeah. It's so funny. He looks really relaxed and happy in yours. And Will Duggan's, he's just staring down the barrel of the camera like, who's this fucking cunt? It's brilliant.
So after that, Lloyd, the L's go for a drink after the show. Noel didn't go. If it did go, I couldn't have gone. I'd have been too much of a mess. But we had, because I've been so nervous all day, I was like, I don't really drink, I can't drink at this time in the morning. And then Will came back with 2 pints, and I went, oh, go on then, we'll have one.
Yeah, just take the edge off.
Yeah, but we're not eating.
Oh, God. Oh, is that why you because you came to my house to record a podcast afterwards, and you'd taken ages to get over there as well, and you were like, I was like, I'm sure she's had a fucking drink. I couldn't tell if you were high on the event or not.
A bit of both. I'd only had 2 pints. And because
you
we were so...
strutted into my flat.
I was in a great mood. My mum was like, I rang my mum, she's like, well, at least you're happy. You're going to dine out on this for years. I went, yes, I am. So I rang everyone that I'd ever known in my life. And then I had to get the train to Manchester for a gig the next day. And I was with my friend, Sarah Prophet, actually.
Sarah Prophet,
yeah. She was going back to Manchester, came with her. And I don't remember, I was just chatting to her, telling her everything. Next thing, she's going, we're at Stockport, we're nearly back in Manchester. And I went, what? She went, you fell asleep, like, mid-sentence, like, from the excitement of the day.
All tuckered out, overexcited.
Yeah, and she took a picture of me. And I was just, like, bent forward on the train, just like a child asleep.
Oh, that's the best way. I don't fall asleep bent forward. I sleep tilt back with my fillings out on show, my mouth open. I'd much rather be a forward sleeper than a backward sleeper.
Like Barney from The Simpsons.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Anyway, so that's an old story.
Lovely stuff.
That's done.
One day, who's my hero? Just myself, I guess.
Julian Casablancas?
Nah, see, I'm sort of over him because he's a rich little cunt. But I do like him, he's fit. I'll have a little think. Oh, I've met my heroes. I've got one more to go, actually.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
Talk about this another time.
We've got to crack on. We're on one bar.
That was like a 5-minute fucking story, that.
Of course it was.
Which ended with, I fell asleep on the train. What a cliffhanger. So, she's having lager for breakfast, is how this fucking started.
And again, she wasn't interested in the new baby. She started seeing a woman who lived nearby called Charmaine.
That name crops up.
Does, yeah. They think they were having a relationship because she used to come back with love bites.
Yeah.
On the net, which is always a giveaway. Whenever it mentions love bites, I always think of a hickey from Kinnicky from Greece.
Oh, yeah.
And I recently read facts about the film Grease that you wouldn't know.
Everyone in its 56 playing a teenager.
By rights, all these people should probably be dead now, because about 102. But Kinnicky actually, Stockard Channing, who was playing Rizzo, he actually gave her the love bites. He insisted on giving her real love bites.
Really?
Grim, that, innit?
How do you get that in your contract? I don't want him sucking on my neck.
Although I found him more attractive than Danny Zuko.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't really fancy any of them. Probably Rizzo most.
Yeah, she was the coolest.
Oh, Frenchie's fucking cool as well, isn't she?
Yeah, Frenchie's cool. Rizzo's cool.
Sandy can suck a dick.
Patty Simcock, is that her name?
Oh, yeah. That one.
Is that her?
The one that's meant to be fat. Jesus Christ.
Oh, no.
So bored of characters that are meant to be fat.
Patty Simcock's like the one who is the school geek who just appears in it.
Oh, yeah. Who's like the fittest 40-year-old woman I've ever seen, yeah.
And like they try and pair her off with Eugene all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's a bit of a drip in her.
Who's the one who's like
Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
Gregorio or something, yeah.
Anyway, any more Grease characters we can think of?
Putzer. Is that his name?
What?
Putzer. Chachi.
I don't know what you're on about.
I don't know.
I feel like you've got having a stroke.
Because I've got some of my male friends, they all have names like Mikey and so we've got Mikey, Brill Phil, Simo. I remember telling my mum this story that involved all three of them. She's like, Rachel, where are your friends all from? Are they from like some gang in the 50s? So I wish they were. Anyway, this will take the edge off this. She had a history of self-harm.
Yeah, really chronic, that started as a teenager. In fact, as a child, apparently, she used to self-harm.
Oof.
And it really escalated during this time. In fact, there's one of the things I was talking about this with my sketch group, Games When I Give Show earlier, and I was talking about how salacious the coverage of her is in The Sun. And they're like, whoa, angel-faced killer and all this stuff. And there's a picture of her, and then my mate Ed was like, oh, I think if they could get away with it, they'd probably have her on page 3 with her tits out posing. And I was like, well, funnily enough, there's a picture of her where she's pulled her own top up and you can see her bra. And they're like, oh, angel face killer. So you can see her tits, but you can also see her stomach is covered in these very deep scars and lacerations where she's been self-harming. So she's not well.
No, she's not well.
So, but it got really bad during this time. She was cutting her own neck with razor blades, and her arms and her stomach and her legs, and like,
it's horrible.
It's really horrible.
She starts to get, obviously she's getting more violent, but in 2009 another last straw, This was the final straw.
She's on 2 litres of vodka a day by this point. Like some Russian peasant. You know, whenever they see that a woman who's like lived to 160, and then they're like, "What's the secret?" And she's like, "I just drink vodka, and I only eat raw potatoes, and
I smoke 50 a day." Yeah. So 2009, she pulled a knife on a boyfriend, and the way it was described, she had knee-length boots on, and she pulled the knife out of the boot and started stabbing the carpet.
Fucking hell.
And that was the final straw, because it was a bloody good carpet.
There's an underlay on that as well.
And so he took the children, moved to Glossop, which
near us.
Not very far from here. And that was that.
Yeah, because the neighbours as well said that they, like, her behaviour around this time was like just really not that of a, I mean, what is a mother, but they would see her going off into the woods with men, and they think it was for money to buy booze and drugs and things. So there's, sort of that she was doing sexual favours in exchange for money and goods. And yeah, it just seems really fucking sad. And this guy who I started off hating, and then I felt quite sorry for when the neighbours were talking about him, I sort of hate him a bit again, because he said in an interview, he was like, I think that if there was a death penalty, she should be given it. And it's just like, I get that you're obviously hurt and, like, you know, things are difficult, but
that's not.
No, that is the mother
answer.
of your kids. Yeah. And obviously you've got a rough deal. You kept going back. I don't know. Maybe I'd be more sympathetic if it was a woman saying this than a man had treated her like this. I'd probably be like, yeah, good for her. No, it's interesting, isn't it?
I'm massively against the death penalty in all forms. For any situation.
I agree, yeah.
Massively. There's no place in a civilised society.
No, you're right, yeah.
So that's my 2, Penneth.
She gets a new boyfriend, doesn't she?
Yes.
Gary Richards, also known as
Stretch.
Yeah, Gary Stretch.
One of the tallest men in Britain.
Yeah, he was 7'3", and at one point she goes on the run with him. Now, how the fuck you try and go on a run with the tallest man in Britain? It's like mad, isn't it? It's like trying to go on it with like the man with the orangest skin and be like, no problem, I'm sure we'll just blend into the background. That's actually Dale Winton.
Is it not Donald Trump? Is it still Dale Winton?
Dale Winton, have you seen him? He's a deep mahogany.
He is a deep, yeah. I've not seen him for years, have you? Like,
he looks like a handbag. An expensive one as well.
He's gone very quiet, hasn't he, Dale Winton? He's been on everything.
He's back presenting something. I mean, you know, we all have 15 minutes, don't we? So there was a time where he ruled away. I've got so much stuff to say about maybe I'm going to wait for the live shows.
Okay. Smash it.
Remind me at the live shows to tell you all about people who reigned supreme.
I'm looking forward to this. So, she... Also, 7'3". I love a tall bloke. Do like a tall man. 7'3", bit too much that for me, I think.
Oh yeah, I like a tall boy. I like if they're a foot taller than me. Absolute dream. 7'3", that starts to be the kind of thing that people queue up to see, isn't
Unmanageable.
it? Unmanageable.
That's what that is.
But even
unmanageable.
Like shoes. Like if their shoes are by the bed, and be like, right, well now I can't walk around the bed freely. You know, just the fucking size of everything. Like what, you know, having stuff shipped in, especially beds. How the fuck do you deal with a bed?
I find it interesting because obviously I'm so small, I'm not even 5 foot. I know, you're shocked. I find it interesting. Like,
I think you have the attitude of someone below 5 foot.
Below?
Yeah. Napoleon syndrome. Was it you who told me the other day that your boss... Oh,
I found out that a boss from an old job that I had, I met a friend that I used to work with, and he said, I mentioned to this cunt, because she's a cunt and I hope she listens to this, I mentioned to her that I was coming to meet you for a drink and that I've not seen you for ages. I was like, oh, right, okay, what did she have to say? She said, Rachel, the attitude.
Is that what she called you? I love it. I fucking love it.
But you know what I feel like doing? Going in and knocking her out.
Yeah, just to prove her wrong, yeah?
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, I had an attitude because of the way she was with me. I didn't have an attitude of anyone else. Yeah. I'm still meeting people that I used to work with years ago for a drink.
Yeah.
So I can't have that much of an attitude. I've got a bit of an attitude. But don't wind me up and I'm placid as anything.
I wouldn't describe you as placid, mate.
I'm quite placid.
Not placid, that's the wrong word. I'd say you're agreeable, manageable, jovial, but I wouldn't say that you're placid. That's not the right word for you.
No, you're right, actually, I'm not placid. Friendly. Convivial.
Yeah, convivial, that's a much better word than Yeah.
Easily rattled.
What the scrabble round we're having here, eh? Absolutely smash countdown the pair of us.
Anyway, what I was going to say about tall people, I really like trying on people that are really tall, like tall men's shoes.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't you just look like a clown?
Yeah, because I find it really funny. I just think, how do you go around in those?
I bet you could sleep in one of his.
It's just really funny. So she's with Gary, we'll call him Stretch. He was 47 years old. And she moves into this place, Kevin Lee, who was the first victim, he was 48 years old. He used to run a property, he was, what's the word?
Property developer.
Property developer.
Yeah.
But what he'd done, he'd bought up a load of old sort of council houses and he was renting them out to people that had just come out of prison or maybe had run away from home. So sort of people who had chaotic backgrounds, shall we say, and he was renting flats out to them. So
she's quite noble.
It's not though, is it?
Well, this is the thing, is you'd hope that he'd go, I know it's hard to get accommodation, but what actually means is I don't have to do anything to these houses. You're going to have to pay higher rent. I just feel like it might be dodge.
Yeah, it's definitely dodgy. So she moves into one of these flats and she says to Kevin Lee, who becomes very fond of her actually, the first meeting she has with him, she says to him, "Oh, I've been in prison, I've killed lots of people. I killed 2, I knocked another one down in a car, and I was in prison for killing my dad because he abused me," of which there is absolutely no evidence, and her father apparently did not abuse her. So she's telling all these lies. He thinks, "Oh, who's this woman?
Who's this with a chat?"
Hello, yeah. And he sort of becomes very fond of her. Now, one of the documentaries I watched, Kevin's wife was actually on it, telling the story. That must have been really hard for her, actually.
Oh, fucking hell.
So he then asks he asks Joanna and Stretch if they want to work for him. And what they do is they go around intimidating tenants that haven't paid their rent.
Jesus.
Which I imagine would be quite a terrifying sight, actually.
Yeah, her with her facial tattoo and him 7'3".
Yeah. So he's quite taken with her, and he gives her money, he buys her a car, he's obviously having some sort of sexual relationship with her. And on the day that he was murdered...
March 29th?
Yep, he'd been to HMV. His master's voice. Do you know what the dog from HMV is called on the thing?
No.
Nipper.
Good fact, yeah? Good pub quiz fact.
Yep, Nipper. So... on the day of the murder, he'd been to HMV and he bought some CDs. He bought 2 for his wife and 2 for Joanna, one of which was Bobby Womack and the other was the XX, which I don't know what the XX is.
It's a cool band.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that why I don't know who they are?
It's like an enemy band, isn't it?
How
the
weird.
XX. It is weird.
Guys, you remember CDs, eh? Bloody hell.
So March 30th, his body turns up in a ditch in Newborough. So that's the first time he was stabbed.
So his wife actually said that she was trying to get hold of him. It was very unusual for him to not have his phone on. She couldn't get hold of him. She's starting to panic. And he was murdered on the 29th of March. And they think what had happened was, when they found him in a ditch, they'd burnt his car out, and he was in a sequin dress, and he'd been put in a position to humiliate him.
Yeah, it was meant to be sort of a sexually explicit.
Yeah. And they think that she'd lured him in with a sex game, Joanna, so she was wearing the dress at the time, and then she stabbed him, and then put the dress on him, and then her and Stretch took his car and then moved the body. Now, she keeps her own car, though, because that comes into play a bit later on. So, yeah, his wife was worried, and she starts to panic, and then eventually, the next day, very quickly, actually, they found his body. Now, they thought this was the first victim.
Yeah, but they don't think, in the chronology, it probably wasn't. So the next victim, you're going to have to say his name for me, mate.
Lucas Slabazuski.
That's it.
There we go.
So they think he was murdered somewhere between the 19th and the 29th of March. Mm-hmm. So that's, at the latest, it's the same day. If not, it's quite a while before.
Now, he sort of was getting text messages from her. He'd met her through other people. He was getting text messages that suggested that if he went round, they might be having sex. He turns up, thinks he's on a promise. She stabs him in the heart. It's just awful. I always think stuff like this, the actual strength that you must have to do that.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I can't cut a steak.
No, I can't imagine. So she kills him. Lucas had a very chaotic life as well. So he was drinking quite a lot, he was taking drugs, he was in and out of work. Now what Joanna did was she put his body in a bin and she actually showed it to a 14-year-old girl that lived in the neighbourhood. Now can you imagine being a 14-year-old girl and someone showing you that? You'd just be like... And obviously she never said anything, because you're going to be terrified, aren't you?
Yeah, that's so scary.
So
Poor kid.
Another... These are all very quick as well. So John Chapman was the third victim. He was an alcoholic who shared the house with her and Stretch. And he was on drugs and he was, again, a bit of a miserable life. Apparently people said he was very friendly, but he was always pissed. So,
Sounds like you, mate. Convivial.
Actually, I'm not even hungover today.
Don't brag about when you have to put the caveat today on it. It's not a brag.
You see, the thing is, it's like I'm drinking all day. I'll just go out in the evening and
You're
I'll
very
be like,
defensive for someone who's not worried about their drinking.
I'm not worried. Everyone else is. She actually phones Gary Stretch after murdering John Chapman, who she stabs in the neck and the chest. She said she'd murdered him because he was watching her in the was it in the bathroom?
Yeah.
And she just said a few things about him, which I don't know if they're true or not, but I think she would have killed him anyway because she was quite enjoying herself. So she phones Stretch after this, or phones one of her friends, and starts singing Britney Spears' "Oops, I Did It Again" down the phone.
Jesus.
Which is just... One, it's a cheap joke, and two, it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's a shit song as well.
It is. He was found... They were both found, Lucas and John, they were found on the 3rd of April. In a ditch as well.
And we said we think John was killed on about March 29th, about this same time.
Yes.
So really close. I mean, potentially all three could have been killed on the same day.
Could have all been the same day,
but they think Lucas was killed earlier.
Yeah. So the police at this point are quite quick. They cotton on to, they're like, right, okay, these people are all connected by Joanna Dennehy and this Stretch character. I love saying stuff like that, this character. And what they decide to do is they take the car that the first victim has bought for Joanna, because she's such a charmer, and they go on a road trip to Hereford.
Why not? All the hot spots.
Yep. They start stealing things along the way. So they're stealing food to live. They've got no money. So they go into petrol stations, nicking food. Then they start doing a couple of burglaries. And they get in contact with a chap called Mark Lloyd, who'd been in prison with Stretch, doing a stretch with Stretch. Sorry.
Imagine if they'd gone to a yoga class together.
Same joke.
I thought you'd like that.
I like that, yeah.
Did a stretch, went for a stretch.
Oh, don't. I can't laugh at stuff like that.
No, you can't. It's worse than the murders, mate, in many ways.
It's worse than... It's like one of those jokes that a person that we know would do on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Fucking hell.
It's 2018.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this Mark Lloyd, he turned his life around. He'd been in prison. He was out. He was living a normal, law-abiding life. But they get in contact with him because they want to get in touch with somebody that he knows that will buy stolen goods. He wasn't particularly wanting to get involved with this. So they go to visit him to get this contact. And they know at this point that police are looking for them because it's been on the news. They're on the run and they want to be spoken
in fact,
to.
The papers say, one of Britain's tallest men is on the run. And they are talking about 3 murders, but that's how they prefix it.
It totally ignore the woman that's done all the murders.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So they get in a car and they go for a drive round. Presumably... Mark Lloyd thinks because they want to go and to find these contacts so they can sell these stolen goods to get money. Now, when they're in this car, she told Stretch that she wanted to do another murder, and the way she put this was, I want my fun. And he complies with all this. He's quite happy to help her with this. She also went to visit an old friend, didn't she, while she was on the run? And it came on the news about her and Stretch being wanted by the police. She loved it. She was
jumping up and down and being like, that's me, that's me.
So she says, I want my fun. Now, Mark Lloyd doesn't know anything about this at this point, I don't think. And they drive around. She said, I want another victim. She didn't want any women, and especially not women with children. So Mark Lloyd's in the back of the car, feeling a little bit nervous. And
he probably thought they were going to go dogging and he's going to get tugged off in the woods.
He's probably like, oh.
Yeah,
he's like, taking a
she
turn.
wants her fun. Oh, yeah.
Oh, hello. So they drive around. Now they see a man walking his dog, Robin Bereza, who's 64 years old. He's walking up the street, minding his own business, and Stretch points him out. Joanna gets out of the car. Robin was a retired fire service employee. So he's just going about his afternoon, walking his dog, minding his own business.
Famously, she likes dogs.
She does like dogs. And she gets out of the car and she stabs him twice in the chest and in the shoulder. And he is obviously baffled by what's going on. Because I guess if you're just walking up the street and there's someone stabs you, you don't know what's going on at first.
Going to shock.
Yeah. So she gets back in the car. She thinks she's killed him. She's not. He gets back in the car. She gets back in the car. She kisses Stretch and she says thanks. But this isn't enough for her because she wants to do another one within 10 minutes or something. So John Rogers, 56 years old, he was walking his dog as well. He was stabbed 40 times.
Oh my God.
He said at first when he was walking up the street, he thought someone was messing. Like, someone stabbed him. He thought, oh, is this a neighbour having a laugh?
Oh, yeah.
Because I suppose you don't...
Because didn't he say, like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you up to?
She said, he asked her, what's all this about?
Yeah, when she's stabbing him repeatedly. Like, a real, like, Manson stabbing. It's so frenzied, isn't it?
It's brutal, isn't it?
And all this happened between the times of 3:30 and 4 o'clock, so in half an hour she attempts to murder 2 fucking guys. And then I read a newspaper thing from the time, and the guys are in hospital. Thankfully, they both lived, poor guys. But they were described as being very poorly. Like, I'm sure that's not a journalistic term for being stabbed.
Very poorly.
Oh, I'll say it now, he's very poorly. That's what you say when you've got runny shits.
Yeah,
that's not what you say when you've been stabbed in Hereford by a maniac.
Critical condition.
Yeah.
It's funny, we were talking about this though, because what's all this about is such a weird thing to say, in it, when you... Because it's obviously something you say when you're shocked.
Yeah.
And you... Because you were saying that...
So my boyfriend was telling me that apparently, I think it was him who was saying, that when you get mugged, you're meant to, you know, because people go into fight or flight. So most people go like, no, or they try and, you know, or they go, please don't hurt me or whatever. But what you're meant to do is just tell them something fucking mad, and they panic because they're in a high state of anxiety, and they'll just kind of fuck off because they don't know what to deal with. So if someone goes like, give me your purse, you're meant to go, there's really big hedges at my parents' house. And then they'll just be like, what? And then they'll fuck off. Because also they'll be like, oh God, they're obviously not alright.
Have you heard about Henry VIII's funeral? God, that was a debacle. An old friend of mine, I won't give his name, he was coming back, he lived in Chorlton in Manchester, and he'd been to the pub, he went to the Chippy, and he got chips, curry and rice, and he said, when he got them, he was like, oh, this is going to be too hot, this, and he was pissed off because his food was too hot. So he's trying to cool it down walking up the street, and a bloke came up to him, and he had a knife, and he said, I want your wallet, and I want your phone, and he said, and I just looked at him, and I looked at the chips, curry and rice, and I just shoved it in his face, right?
Oh my
and he
God.
said, this guy just let out this unearthly scream so much, and it frightened my mate who shoved it in his face, and he ran, and he said the guy's like just, ah! And he said, he went, he must have had to go to hospital, like, it was fucking hot food, right?
Hell.
So he said he was in his house, like, really nervous, and then he went to bed, and the next day, he said he walked out the house to go to work, and his chips, curry and rice was just in the gutter.
But always, you know, on like a Sunday when you walk it out and about after everyone's had a night out, and you see like, you know, like a kebab on the floor, I'm normally like, oh, I'm gutted for them. Now I'm going to be like, that probably helped them escape from a mugger.
That saved their phone.
Yeah, I'm going to feel great when I see a pizza upturned on the pavement now.
So luckily both of these chaps survived, as we know. And very quickly she is arrested.
Yeah.
Very little on the arrest, very sort of...
You can see footage of it. She's sort of joking around, isn't she?
Yeah.
With it, and flirting with the police officers.
Flirting. And she's also said, at one point she goes, say, oh, you know what you're here for? And she goes, hey, could be worse, could be fat.
Oh yeah. Fucking what a mad thing to say.
Yeah.
And I think at one point she also describes murder as being Moorish.
Yes. It just got Moorish. That's what she said. She also said...
I am fat, but it's because I find crisps Moorish and not murders.
Not murder.
And I still think I'm better off. Probably not in society's eyes.
She also said as well, about the victims, well, they shouldn't have pissed me off, they shouldn't have flirted with me.
Behave. What, the lad who was walking his dog?
Yeah, exactly.
No way.
No.
Not good enough.
So, the trial comes up.
You love a trial, don't you, mate?
Thank God this is a quick one, and thank God it was just done.
So she did, basically she went to court, and they thought she was going to plead non-guilty, and on the day she went, guilty, and her barristers were like, what the fuck? So they went, oh, can we have more time? We need to speak to our client. And she went, no, I don't need more time. She objected. She was like, guilty. So November the 13th, 2013, she was given a whole life sentence. She's only the third ever woman to be given that. She started in February 2014.
So Myra Hindley, Rose West, Joanna Dennehy.
Yeah, they're the only women in British history anyway. Yeah, and she said all these psychological evaluations. She said that the justification was killing just got more and more. She said killing just got more-ish. She also recently has been in the press because she claimed her human rights were being violated because, to be fair, she's sort of right here. She was put in solitary confinement for 2 years because they read her diary and she had plotted an escape plan. And part of the escape plan was she would get a prison guard and cut their fingers off and then use their fingers to get through the pads on the fingerprint recognition, which is fucking dark. And then, so as a result of this, she's put in solitary confinement for 2 years. Now, normally it has to be passed through the Home Secretary, is it? Which is Chris Grayling at the time. Or Justice, is it? Fucking, what's it called? The Minister for Justice.
I thought it was the Home Secretary, I'm not sure.
Is it? Well, whoever it is, it should have been signed off with, it was Chris Grayling at the time, and it wasn't. So there was an investigation, and it was found that they didn't follow protocol, but she still would have been in solitary confinement. But she said her human rights were being violated, so she lost that case. And also she said of the other things in her diary, she'd like written it, this is how I'm going to escape, I'm going to cut this person's fingers off. She was like, her barristers were like, oh that was just doodles. And it's like, you don't doodle that, mate. And if you are, you probably still need to be in solitary confinement.
Just doodling, that's what that was.
So she's in Bronzefield near Ashford in Surrey.
She had... She was in the paper again not so long ago because it was alleged that she had a relationship with a former lecturer, Alexandra Cruzier, who's a 37-year-old mother who was in her second spell in prison for, what a charmer, racially abusing a doctor, biting a nurse and assaulting 2 police officers.
Fucking hell, that's a quiet night in A&E, isn't it?
That really is. So they met in the gym in prison. And she was actually, one of the tabloids went to visit this woman when she was released from prison to ask her about the relationship. And she said, she's just one of the many friends that I made in jail.
Oh, God.
One of the many friends.
As long as they're not black. She sounds awful, this woman.
She does sound awful.
But apparently she's been, because this, I mean, obviously solitary confinement is horrific. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine anything worse, and I think I'd go absolutely bonkers, but her self-harming did get worse in this period, and they said that it's left her very upset and tired. But she also was wearing an escape suit, apparently. So she's planning to break out, but I mean, hopefully she won't do that. Because I think she'd just start killing again. In fact,
absolutely.
Her family and her John Trainer, who she was with, were like, she can't... Her mum said, oh, she's my daughter and I love her, but I think it's best that she stays in because there's no remorse and she would do it again.
One of the police that dealt with her said that they had no doubt that she was the most dangerous criminal in the criminal justice system.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How does someone get like that so they're so detached that they just don't give a fuck? Like, that's... Because it's all this stuff that keeps us... You know, because the system is fragile. There's more of us than there is of them. If we just decided to go full-on purge on it and do murders and, like, kill each other and stuff, we could. There's just not enough police, especially now, thanks to Theresa May, to, like, keep everything in line. But you just buy into the idea that we all sort of want to be good and don't want to hurt other people. So, like, that's ingrained in you from... It's weird that she's played into the indoctrination that women's value is in being not fat, yet she's shirked the idea that we have to not kill people. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're really picking and choosing.
You know who I blame?
Go on, mate.
The Kardashians.
Here we fucking go.
She's obsessed with celebrity gossip, apparently.
Oh, yeah, she is. She's really into it, isn't she?
I think...
Loves the Bake Off as well. Never misses an episode, apparently.
She watches it for the knives, not the cakes.
Brilliant!
I think that I think some people just want to be known for something, whether that be known for being good or being bad. And I think we live in a culture where everything's just based around celebrity and being known for something or nothing.
Well, wasn't she, when she was on the run, she was, like, Snapchatting stuff?
Yeah, she was Snapchatting it. And
with her, like, licking a knife and stuff. Like, a fucking huge, terrifying knife. So, yeah, maybe it is she thinks she's, like, this celebrity culture.
So I think
murder.
I think that sort of culture's got a lot to answer for.
I don't know that you can say she murdered people because of...
No, but ultimately, she's just... A, she's insane, and B, she's a rotter.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there you
she's
go.
a cunt who's mad. Wow, that's
God,
her.
it sounds like all my past relationships.
So that's Joanna Dennehy.
That's it.
Did I say it right?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, that's close enough.
She's not going to come and get us for not mind, is she?
She fucking will. She's going to turn up, she's going to knock on the door with 2 severed fingers. Then
She just don't want to kill women.
Well,
Unless
I've got
you're a
no
prison
kids.
guard.
I've got no
Never have
kids.
Don't you be giving me imaginary kids.
Oh no, I wasn't giving you imaginary kids. I'm sort of like, I'm never going to have kids, am I? I don't think.
Why not?
Well, I'm going to, well, let's not get into this.
Look, we'll all get drunk.
Kids.
You can get drunk one night.
What, are you going to get me pregnant?
Okay.
Bloody hell, there's nothing you don't think you can do, is there?
You just got to believe.
I believed myself pregnant.
So, with live shows on Sunday,
Oh shit, yeah, it is, isn't it?
and
So
that's going to be good.
I've got a little surprise for you.
Yeah, well,
Got a little present for you.
Yeah,
I've got a busy. Oh, I hope they arrive in time. If they don't,
I hope they don't. That's all I'm saying.
I've got a little present. Are we allowed to say who we're doing for it?
Yeah, go on, tell them.
So we're doing. Well, no, I'm worried that we need to make sure it's right.
Okay, we won't.
We won't tell you who we're doing.
Do it as a surprise.
Yeah, and if I've said I'll say anything in the live shows, remind me because I'll just forget. We're so excited to do it, and the fucking Glasgow's nearly sold out. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
And Cardiff's like we've never been to Cardiff before, but like we've sold like hundreds of tickets already, which is absolutely mad. The venue's huge though, so I don't know if we'll sell that out. And the second Leicester Square Theatre date, I think there's only like 100 tickets left there as well, which is amazing. It's brilliant. I want to do something for the people who come to 2 dates, but I can't think what. So if you can think of anything nice that you'd like.
Listen, mate, not that I'm comparing myself to the Gallaghers here, but, you know, I went to Main Road both nights, and what did I get for it?
You met Noel eventually.
Yeah, fucking 20 years later.
You're playing the long game with all this, mate.
All right, okay.
If he'd have met you then, he wouldn't have been like, who's she?
No, I wouldn't be old. I wasn't old enough then.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was a chubby teenager. He wouldn't have been interested.
Tony Slattery.
No,
We've
I'm
all
sa-
seen the pictures.
I'm saying he wasn't interested. He liked me.
You bonded.
I think he found me quite charming. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, so if you can think of anything fun or nice or like, what would you want back? We want to give you something back if you're being super cool and coming to loads of shows. But I'm trying to think of something. I don't want it to be like shit. I wonder if there's any like code we can give you for like a bonus episode.
Oh, that's
or something.
not a bad idea. Yeah.
We could do like John Benet Ramsey.
We might do the
or
John
something
Benet one, yeah.
Fucking, that's going to take about 7 hours. So I've just gone down a rabbit hole with that again recently. So maybe something like that. I don't know. You let us know what kind of stuff you're into. Don't bankrupt us. I've just had a fucking tax bill, so I've got to deal with that. Otherwise, I'd get your stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, we really appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
Loads of you started. There's been a big boost in the Patreon recently as well, which is really nice because that makes things. It means that it means we've been able to sort of bankroll these live shows because it's obviously at our risk and stuff, and obviously it's a gamble that's paid off, but we didn't know that when we did it. So yeah, you really help us to do this, and it means that we can go. We don't have to take that gig. We can take this afternoon off, and we can do the podcast. So yeah, we don't mention it a lot because we don't think that this should be anything other than free. But I want to say to all the people who donate that it's massively appreciated, and you make a difference. It really is.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thanks, pals.
So we'll see fucking like 400 of you on Sunday. Oh my god!
I can't wait, mate. I don't give a shit. I'll be like,
fucking
this is my Nebworth, mate. This is my Nebworth.
No, I'm fucking shitting it. You're gonna see shit flowing down sequins. That's what you're gonna see. Anyway, this has been the All Killa No Filla podcast with Kiri, Pritchard-McLean and Rachel Fair. I don't usually sign off like this, but I quite like it. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks.